Good evening to you all the viewers that are currently watching this TV, that is Fine TV Gambia. I am Lamin Sane, and then with me here is Usman Cham. We are here to discuss about the current affairs of the University of the Gambia concerning the new intakes and also the admission process and also the clearance issue that students are currently facing at the university. Without wasting time, I will just allow my guest, who is Usman Cham, who is the Education and Research Minister of the 13th Executive Council of EJUSA. Mr. Cham, you are welcome on board.
Good. Thank you so very much, Honorable Sani. Good evening, viewers. Like I said, I am Usman Cham, the current serving Education and Research Minister of the 13th Executive Council.
Okay.
So we are here at Fine TV, the Gambia, to discuss on issues that are very relevant to our sector as the Education and Research Ministry of the EDUSA Council. So here we have ourselves to discuss that issue because, like we believe, as a minister, these issues are to be discussed, and of course we are here to talk about those issues.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Cham. As you are aware, and all the students that are currently viewing, watching the TV, we are all aware that the admission has already, in fact, the semester, which is the second semester for this particular academic year.
Okay.
We believe it has, it should start by now,
Okay.
but then due to one reason or the other, it has not started. And then this is actually to the dismay of students who, some of them, are almost to the end of their tenure or their study at the university, but because the semester has not started, it has been a hindrance to them. And then we also understand that new students from other areas, from other schools, also are really, currently in limbo of why they cannot just start their program. So as a ministry, as your ministry is the education and research one under the School of Education, what's your ministry doing currently to solve this issue?
Yes, that's very correct. The semester is coming to start, and then there are so many issues that are delayed, and of course, there is need for us to talk about these very key issues.
Yeah.
Yes, as we are, our ministry is engaging relevant authorities, that are concerned with in this issue. Part of our responsibility as a ministry is to ensure consultation and as well dialogue with people who should we talk to ensure that the problems of students are solved.
Yeah.
Yes, we understand that we have issues of late clearance. This is a menace in our school, in the School of Education, more especially when it comes to the MOPSI people. Of course, we are with them, and we really feel sorry of what they are facing, as beneficiaries of the MOPSI, sponsorship. Of course, we are not sleeping. We are doing what we're supposed to do as a ministry. And in fact, that was the reason why when we were elected in the office to serve as the Education and Research Ministry, our first step was to amalgamate, these two committees. Before we had what we call the MRC Holland Foundation Committee, we also had the MOPSI Scholarship Committee. Equally, we have the MOHAS as well. So we said we need to have a strong force.
Okay.
Because we believe by having that strong force, we can solve this problem. So we, called these two committees. We met them as a ministry, and we discussed with them, and we joined these two, and we have a force.
Okay.
And since then, we have been engaging authorities that are concerned to solving this problem.
That's a formidable force, taking consideration of EJUSA itself, as being one of the biggest associations or one of the most important associations, and having other, committees also. That is very important, I believe. Yeah. So this scholarship committee, as you mentioned, I believe they are the ones in charge of taking care of the students' affairs when it comes to their scholarship issues.
Okay.
And then you made mention of MOPSI and then MOHAS, because these are large bodies that normally give scholarship to students. But we understand that they are not cleared. And they are not the only ones who are not cleared. We also have individual students who are paying on their own they're also not clear.
Okay.
So what say you about those areas?
Yeah. Yes. You are correct, Honorable Minister. But at first, I will start by thanking these authorities or these institutions like MOPSI, Emerson Foundation, and MOHAS. They are investing in education because we all know how costly things are, and if you don't have that scholarship, we cannot be here.
Yeah, no,
So we are here because
yeah.
of them. So firstly, we need to thank them for giving us the opportunity to be here as students pursuing our first degree. Yeah, of course, along the course we have problems. There are problems that we are facing. Like I said, like the people who have been sponsored by MOPSI. When you talk about the issue of clearance, of course, it has to go with the issue of the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go concurrently. Um, like I said before, these people they face problem because UTG finance account, finance department, they are responsible for all monetary issues, in the university,
Okay.
right? So if you are a student in this university and you do not pay, they will not clear you.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have different categories here. We have people who have been sponsored by this MOPSI, MOHAS, Barcelona Foundation. You also have people who have been, sponsored individually or by individual, philanthropists. But if the one who is sponsoring you has not paid, then obviously the UTG Finance Department will not clear you because they cannot do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until and unless a negotiation is done, there you can be cleared. So along the course, we did our finding. We have the chairperson of this committee, and that is Honorable Musa Mane. He's the one serving as the Education and Research Minister for of the UTG issue to the union. So we engaged him to discuss with the finance department, and he did. So what he realized was like MOPSI is owing, UTG.
Okay.
Right? MOPSI is owing UTG, and then there is no negotiation done. That is why those who have been sponsored by MOPSI are not cleared. So as the Minister for Education and Research, I also, did my follow-up. It's part of my responsibility because one of the responsibilities of the Education and Research Minister is to ensure that the interests of the students are promoted, through consultation and dialogue. So I had dialogue with the authorities that are concerned. Like I had dialogue with the Permanent Secretary, Job, and I also had dialogue with Sekou Sanyang. Sekou is a personnel at the Human Resource Unit at MOPSI. I also had dialogue with the the, uh, the the chief accountant of the University Finance Department, that is Mr. Boja, of this issue. So, but what I realized is similar to what the chairperson of this committee had, also realized. That is, MOPSI is owing UTG. Yeah, MOPSI is owing UTG. That's the fact.
Okay.
And there is no negotiation that is done. Let's say for this semester for those who are on the MOPSI to be cleared. So this is something that we know, and of course we are, taking bold steps to ensuring that this issue is solved. I called the PS, and discussed with him on this matter, and of course, he's working with his people to ensuring that this is solved, amicably. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. We must commend your ministry for doing those fantastic, for taking those fantastic steps towards eradicating this menace that we are into, because really it is very disheartening as a student to come over, with a fully, scholarship, with a full scholarship, and then to your, dismay, you are told that the clearance is still not done and you cannot still register your courses.
Yeah.
And we all know what the problem with that, because failing to register your courses on time could lead you to register with a lecturer perhaps at a particular time that does not favor your schedules.
That's very correct.
So these are some of the problems that we normally face when it comes to late registration. And sometimes the course you might want to register for, and the class might be full before you are able to register, as many students are on board to register that particular course. And sometimes before the portal is, or the class size is increased, it takes time.
That's very correct.
So the student might be in limbo to know exactly whether this particular class will be increased or not. So he might not be attending lectures. And as time passed, the class could in fact have assignment before you join up.
That's very correct.
So these are all problems that usually comes up with registration. So I believe the clearance issue is very important.
Yeah, it's very important, and exactly this is what I told the PS, the newly appointed permanent secretary of MOPSI, Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. I told him in the message that I wrote to him that the consequences of this late registration is very huge.
Yeah.
And part of it is like if you are not cleared duly, one, you will register a course that you don't want to register.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
And as we all know, there are courses that you have to do as a student, and there are courses that you don't have to do as a student. Like if you are here in your third year, you have to go for course auditing, and there the faculty officers will check whether the courses that you do are right or they are wrong. And if they realize there's any course that is not supposed to be done and you did it, they will mark it X.
That is for sure.
So if they mark it X, it means that is the disadvantage as a student.
Yeah.
And you cannot graduate without doing that course.
Without doing that course.
So I told him, the consequences include this. You will do a course that you don't want to do. Because you have to do 6 courses, and if you realize the portal is about to close, or in fact the class sizes are full, for you just to have your 6 courses, you will just go and register a course
that you don't want to do at that particular semester.
Yeah. One. And secondly, if you don't want to do that course, you may end up doing only 5 courses. And if you do 5 courses, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to do 48 courses. Like, for example, if you are on the School of Education, your major, your minor, plus your educational courses, plus also your GR, if you put all together, that gives you 46 courses that you're supposed to do in 8 semesters.
Yeah.
So, meaning every semester you do 6 courses.
Yeah.
So, if you fall short of, let's say 3 semesters or 2 semesters of not registering the required number of courses, you face problem at the end of the at the end of the fourth year, and that will push you to do another semester.
That is for sure.
So let's say now if your scholarship ends there, so what will happen to you?
Yeah.
So you have to pay from your own money to do
that particular semester.
Problem. I told him these issues, and definitely as the PS for MOPSI, he felt this, and he said he will work with his people to ensuring that this is solved. Yeah.
So that is a very important, actual point that we need to discuss, because, I know recently your phone must have been, ringing very, very long time, the students must have been calling to ask about, their affair, because some of them, not knowing, we in fact have people in executive who are also not cleared to register their courses. So the problem is not just them. We are also part of the problem, actually. In fact, we are facing it as executives. So nobody is exempted when it comes to such problems. Yeah, we are all facing the same problem. But then, as executives, it is our mandate to make sure these issues are solved. And then, this is not the first time. In fact, part of our courtesy call is to visit MOPSI, and then we did that. We met with the PS, we spoke with him, and then we put this point across that students need to be cleared on time.
That's very correct. Yeah.
And then we had this problem. There should be an approval meeting start before that, but even if it starts, students will still be wary about their grades. And then that is also a point that we need to underline, because you start a semester, you don't know your fate of the other one.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that? That is also another thing.
Yeah. You are right. As we stand, our grades are not known.
Yeah, they are not known. Yeah. So we don't know our fate. I don't know whether the courses I did last semester, whether all of them are okay or not. So that is another issue. Yeah.
Are not
yeah, they don't know their fate.
They don't know their fate.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Yeah,
inquiries, with regards to the grades.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are right, Honorable. UTG is operating in accordance with the structured academic calendar. Yeah, it has a calendar that follows.
Yeah, I think that is where the problem in fact starts. The calendar, the way it is programmed, usually it is never followed. Always there is lapses. In fact, the dates indicated there are not the actual dates before, because the semester should have started, I think, late February, right?
Yeah.
Should be around late February.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that, in fact, we all knew before impact February. Before late February, we all knew that we have this conviction that it will never start in February. And then we are in March,
which
is all March 2020. No, 12. 12. So you can see. So which means it has not started. It should have been in March. Sorry, in February ending, but it has not. So we are in March, and it is still not. And we don't even see
That's
when will
correct.
it start.
According to the academic calendar, we should have started lectures, on the 27th.
On the 27th.
But the
Exactly.
fresh students should have started on the 27th.
Yeah, the continuing students.
Yeah,
The fresh students.
continuing students
Yeah.
on 27th February.
Yeah.
And the fresh students 6th
On the
March.
6th of March.
So that was the design, but it has failed.
It has failed. Yeah.
We have not started
Yeah.
lectures.
Yeah.
And yes, I think what we need to do is to just address this to the authorities that are concerned.
Yeah.
Because they design the academic calendar.
Yeah.
When they are doing it, we are not present.
Yeah.
Just to tell them when they design the calendar, it's good for us to follow it accordingly.
Sure.
If they say on the 27th we should start lectures, let's start 27th.
Yeah.
And if it is on the 6th for the first students, on the 6th they start lectures. So maybe as a council, we always have consultation with the dean of School of Education. We're always working closely, and of course, this is a point that we will note that when we meet her, we can put it to her that let's try to submit this to authorities so that we can go accordingly. Because if we fail in time, we fail. Time is very is very significant in whatever that we do. Yeah. So this is a point that we will note as a council, and we will put it to them.
Yeah, I think it will be important if there is this rapport between you and perhaps the SU education minister, if it is possible for you to engage the authorities. Perhaps you can have a sitting and then discuss about this issue of the calendar, the academic calendar. I believe it is very important. Time is so precious that whatever you schedule for it to be, especially when it comes to the country citadel of learning. The university. Gambia has this only university. That is actually graduating students with first degree and so on. So if that particular university cannot go by their timetable or their timeline, you might feel sorry for the country when it comes to other areas that they should go by the time, because we should be an example when it comes to guarding our time and then going by our time, our timetable. Whatever we schedule, it should be followed. Yeah, but this is not the first time. I think this has been a tradition in the university. Yeah. So
like I said, we are always working with them.
Yeah.
We are always working with them. And of course, in their meetings, in the constitution, the president has to be present in their board meetings. So this is something that we note as a council. Of course, time is very precious.
Time is so
and
precious.
it has to be followed.
Sure.
So with regard to the grades, people are asking as well, about the grades.
Yeah.
Good. So
exactly, we can move on to that. That is, the grades are very important because it is not in, like I said before, and then we need it. We need the grades to be in so we can know which courses to register this particular semester. Yeah.
Good. That's correct. So about concerning the grades now.
Yes.
Okay, concerning the grades, in accordance with the academic calendar, the grades are to be approved, on the 22nd of March, at the Senate meeting. That was why, yesterday or yesterday, we were asking on the platform about the grades. We are about to start the semester and we are posting our grades.
Yeah.
But what I told them is, the grades are to be approved. When they are approved, then from there they can release it. So in essence, if all goes well, we might start without seeing our grades.
Sure.
And of course, this is something which we may discourage, because like before we start the semester, we should know our fate.
Yeah.
I think that should be the proper thing.
Yeah.
Before you start, know your grades. Then from there you can improve on your strength and weakness.
That is true.
But you start without knowing your grades for the previous semester, and you are going into another semester. So sometimes you may not go very fine.
Yeah.
So this is very key. And of course, like I said, we are working very closely with the dean, with the faculty office.
Yeah.
And of course, during our meeting with them, we will tell them that these are things that we make as a council. We want to see our grades before we start the semester.
Exactly. That is a very important point. And then I think just to remind the viewers, we might want them to also take part when it comes to our sessions. This will not be the first. In fact, at the beginning, we should have said this, but then we just don't want to waste any time. We are so much eager to start the topic of discussion, than to tell them actually certain things that we need to. That is to say, the program will be live like it is today, and then we want them to also send in their comments. I've already added a number, my phone number on the dispatch that was sent before. That is 20111896. So they can use that number to send in their comments, and also the Facebook page, that is the user page. They can also follow that page and find TV to send in their comments. So some of them will be read out during this program. So if you are viewing, currently you can do so by sending us your opinions on 20111896. So coming to the program, you are saying the grades are very important, and then this cannot be overemphasized, because like we said, it is very important that we know our fate before we get into the new semester. So your engagement with MOPSI has really gained fun, perhaps not fully yet, because the grades have not been. So the portal is not yet cleared for everybody to register their courses, but we might hope that will be. So aside from that, you also have an engagement with the finance department at the university. Yeah. So you might reiterate what the engagement came up with.
Okay, that's correct, Honorable.
Yeah.
Yes, like I said, as a ministry, we are working closely with the task force committee that
Yeah.
is set. Of course, I have to send regards to them.
Yeah.
They are people who are very hardworking.
Sure.
Since we formed this committee,
Yeah.
definitely they are working tirelessly to ensure that the problems of students are solved. Starting from the chairperson down to the last person, we send regards to you and congratulate you for the good work that you are doing. And of course, we encourage you to do more. Still, our work is not solved. As much as this issue is not solved, definitely, we have to active much. So we have to work it out, inshallah, as a body. So, like you said, I called the chief accountant
The
of
chief,
the university.
accounts officer.
Yeah, when I called him, what he told me, I told him, yeah, we have problems with the MOPSI people. So what do you have to tell me about that? Because I am the education research minister, and of course people are asking me about their clearance. What do you have to tell me? So he told me, yes, the issue is MOPSI is owing us categorically. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
And negotiation has not been done, and of course we cannot clear anybody. That's what he told me.
That is true.
Yeah, so straight I called the PS and I put this to him, and he said, okay, try to me, and then I did that and informed him and put all the consequences that we will face, if this issue is to be continued. It's something that we are really not okay with, and definitely want it to stop. The MOPSI people are really suffering.
Yeah.
And we cannot be in office and looking things to go like that. We have to solve it. That is why we are elected, and we are doing our utmost best to solve this issue. Yeah. So we are working as a team, and in fact, tomorrow Monday we plan to go there. We want to give them a surprise visit to discuss with them about this issue. Yeah.
You feel like there should be there should be this cordial relationship between the two institutions, because as teachers, MOPSI controls our affairs when it comes, because they're in charge of the basic and secondary education in the country. So when it comes to the issue of learning, I don't think they should have issues, when it comes to having their sponsored students to start their semester or their tenure. That should not be, because we understand that other areas like MRC Holland, they are sponsoring students. And then we don't usually encounter such problems with them. So why MOPSI,
Yeah.
Sometimes you might, I want to ask this question: Why MOPSI? Why MOPSI? A ministry that should be very much leading the front when it comes to, having students educated. It's always having an issue with this. Why MOPSI?
It's a giant question.
It's a giant question. So we have to do that. Seriously, it is a big problem actually.
That's correct. Why MOPSI?
Yeah.
We have this phenomenon.
Yeah.
That is paper scholarship.
So
this
it
money
is paper, and then the money does not flow.
Good, thank you very much.
Sure.
So this is a problem.
Yeah.
The fund sometimes might not be available.
Yeah.
So they can give out the scholarship, and the fund is not available. The problem comes.
Yeah.
Number one. Another issue as well is records. In fact, when I met the the DPS together with Sekou Sagan, personnel from the human resource unit at MOPSI. Of course, he told me that they have that constraint that they they lack the record because just like MRC, all students who are sponsored by MRC at the end of every semester they submit their transcript and it is filed.
And MOPSI is not doing
so
that.
that is not happening with MOPSI. So in essence, one can say they have not got the actual statistics of the people who have been sponsored.
Wow. That is a serious failure on their part.
It's a problem.
Yeah,
and of course, as a
ministry,
we work with them. That's why I told the DPS with Sekou Sagan that we'll work with you people to ensuring that is available.
Yeah.
But this is an issue that we have to solve first. That is ensuring that the issue of this late clearance is solved. When it is solved, after that, then we can see how best we can work as bodies to have that statistic that is required.
Yeah, I think in fact the university should be able to provide that information. That should not be a difficulty. The admission part, School of Education can tell them actually the number of students that are enrolled. And then I don't think that should be an issue. Knowing the statistic of the student that they are sponsoring. So.
That is not a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Let's say after this issue of clearance, then from there we can work with them and we have it done. And it has to be. It has to be. They should know every student that is sponsored, and they can have it in records. Know when you started and when you are to finish. And we'll work with them to ensuring this document is available at the administration.
And recently, the portal was open. In fact, let's say 2 days ago or so. It was open, and then some of us, had the opportunity to, in fact, register some courses, once it was open. So, and then later on, they closed it again. So I think that part is okay. Because you can understand that there are others, your colleagues are waiting to be cleared. So you are cleared, fortunately, you happen to be cleared, and then you are able to register your courses. So while some of the other, students are not cleared, and it is not their fault not to be cleared at the moment. So if they give room to the others to register their courses, it might be a problem to the other ones who are not cleared and they are not, guilty for not being cleared. So I think that part, that the authorities did was fine. But again, it all boils down to their failure of, clearing students on time. And then sometimes you might not also blame them because the scholarship board or the department that are sponsoring are also not playing their part as they should. Yeah, because that is it.
That is it. The portal was open on Saturday. And,
it was.
There was a tight race, huh?
Yeah, it was. Because I know some students are always online, perhaps the Yomika part of the students.
I have a friend, so this guy realized that the portal was open. Straight, he started registering. After registering, he called me. Boy, the portal is open. So you didn't inform me when it was open.
It was open.
I was crossing before the class.
That is very factual, actually.
That's correct. So
usually, if you get the information, you try to use that opportunity.
And do your things from there, that you can
inform the rest.
Yeah, that's correct. It was open and closed, and authorities did that, and of course they know the reason why they do that. But all what we working out as a ministry is our people register their courses. That's our concern. That is our concern. I will not be happy if I register my 6 courses and my colleagues do not register their courses. So at the level of our ministry, we are feeling that. At the level of the council, education and 13 executive council, we are feeling the same.
Sure.
And as well at the level of the task force committee, we feel the same. So there's none an education student who will feel happy if you register your courses and your colleagues do not register their courses.
That is for sure.
So basically, that is our concern, and we are working towards that. Certainly on Monday they may reopen the portal. We have not get a clear picture, of that, but most likely on Monday they will reopen the portal. So when that is done, what we are looking for is all to have the access to register their courses. And in fact, that is why we plan to go to MOPSI surprisingly on Monday, that is 13th of March, to meet the authorities and to discuss with them.
This Monday you are going.
This Monday, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow we go in there.
Okay, that's very
as
good.
A ministry and as well as a committee.
Okay. So in a nutshell, we can inform the student that the Educational Research Ministry of 13 Executive Council of EDUSA is working tirelessly to solve this issue.
Yeah,
They have currently met
with the task force committee.
with the task force
Yeah,
committee.
we are not doing it alone. We are doing this with the task force committee.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, we have the MOPSI and the MOHAS that are put together. They are amalgamated.
Yeah.
So that we can have a strong force and then solve this problem.
That's
so
very
as a
good.
ministry, we are working with them. Equally, indirectly, the council is also working with us because they are not leaving us to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we are going slowly, they will push us.
Yeah.
Work fast, work fast. So
That's very good.
we are working this as a team. Yeah, good.
Yeah, very good. So, what's your recommendation to the university when it comes to having new semester starting on time and then to have a progressive semester? What are some of the things you think makes it progressive? You know, and then some of the perhaps the measures you might want to suggest that they should follow to make sure the semesters are starting on time and to make sure that the semesters are successful.
Yes.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to drive at is, so, to have a successful semester, perhaps students need to learn their areas, that they want to study.
I understand.
Very good. So that is it.
That's correct. That's correct. My recommendation first, with regard to the academic calendar, is when we X, let's go by X.
Yeah, very good.
When they design,
it has to be strictly followed.
Perfect. When they design the academic calendar, let us go accordingly. Let us not deviate.
Yeah.
If we deviate, that is making us to feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Let us just go straight. If they say on the 27th of February we started, let's start 27th.
Very good.
On the 6th, the fresh students are starting. Let's start on the 6th. So I would encourage the authorities to improve on that. And as well, I told you, we are a council, and whenever we meet them, we're going to put this to them so that we see next semester things go accordingly.
Yeah, this semester should have been, I think, the longest semester.
Yeah.
Compared to the previous semester, that is very short. But sometimes it becomes, in fact, shorter than it should be. And then one of the disadvantages I have in mind is usually we are compressed. Like the semester should have been longer a bit for us to cover the areas that we need to cover. The courses we are doing, some courses are tricky and they need you to have some time to really prepare well and to grab all the notes, that the semester, that the course has. But then if it does not start on time, at the end, what they will do is to compress everything and force you to understand certain things that needs to be understood at least a bit longer. So the productivity is also compromised.
Yeah, it is indeed. Indeed. And the other recommendation will be like with regard to the progressive productive semester is to ensure that the materials are available. It's sad to say, but we have a great challenge in this university. As students, we are not exposed, to that extent when it comes to teaching and learning. Okay. In fact, at the senior secondary level, you as a teacher, you don't teach without using equipment.
Sure.
But here, let's say you are a biology student, you can learn, from your first year to your fourth year, and you will not see a microscope.
A microscope. That continues. This was in fact recommended when we visited NYC.
Good.
It was recommended. He said actually he just cannot understand that in the university they are drawing on the board. So that is another thing.
It is a problem. And this issue is not helping us.
Yeah, it is not. I think that is in fact a topic of its own.
Of its own.
The curriculum really need to be revisited.
It has to.
It has to be.
It has to. But again, I will take this opportunity to encourage people. Education is very costly.
Sure.
If you go to other countries, let's say Senegal or neighbors, you see many people investing in education.
Yeah.
People who are well off, let them invest.
Okay. The philanthropists, they need to come on board.
Invest. Education is very costly. If you want to have a 360 positive turn in this Gambia, we have to invest in education. Let's give support. If the government cannot do it alone, you are out there and you have your money, you think you can do, come and do it.
Yeah, I think that area we are so much lacking.
Yeah, we're lacking in that.
Yeah, we're lacking in so much.
I was amazed, sometimes I was in Senegal and they had this competition. You will see people calling, I donate, I pledge 5 million, I pledge 1 million, I pledge this. This is Quranic recitation.
That can be so motivating.
Yeah, that motivates people. You see people, they in fact, schools, madrasas, they will say, okay, we will work harder to ensure that our people, also get this opportunity.
Sure.
So you do that if those motivations are available. You know, to motivate is to stimulate, you know, someone to do greater.
to do
So
greater,
if that is done, it means you are asking the guy do great, and the person of course will do great. But in the Gambia, of course, we lack in this, and we are definitely calling on people to come on board. These are issues that we lack. As students, you know, we need this equipment. University is the highest learning institution in the Gambia. So
Sure.
if you are learning and you don't have those materials, it's a problem.
The motivational
Yeah,
levels are very much
let us
lacking.
let us invest in education. Those who
Yeah.
have it, let them invest.
Previously, we had this opportunity that the president used to invest when it comes to high performance, like the summa cum laude and then the cum laude and so on. But then recently we don't have that. So you achieve up to that level and you are still stranded.
You see people
So,
with the highest performance and they are not given anything.
Yeah. So I think that area really need to be
So we need
looked
to,
at.
we need to, but we have in this as a constraint. We lack the equipment. You know, we really need the UTG management. You know, to work and ensure that we have these materials. You know, in our schools. You know, we are teachers. You know, school of education. We are being trained to go and teach people. So if we are not exposed to certain pedagogies, of course we will have problems, you know, when we go back to the classroom. So those things have to be available. We need the materials so that we can demonstrate it when we are in the classroom, number one. And secondly, staffing is a problem. You will see a lecturer who will have, you know, many courses that, you know, where you can say this guy is overloaded. You know, let's say you have your 5 courses or your 4 courses, you know, you have to prepare before you go to classroom. So, you know, let them have, you know, the required number of staff so that, you know,
the human resource.
So that at least, you know, this problem can be solved.
Sure.
And that is one of the reasons why the first students are having problems.
Sure.
We have seen that problem, you know, recently at the orientation, the general orientation. You know, it was declared there that, you know, those who want to come, you know, as first student in the School of Education, you know, will not be accommodated. Why? Because we don't have these human resources. Should that be?
So on that area, in fact, the executives have visited Mr. Lu.
Thank you.
We've gone to him, and then, you know, like you are aware that, you know, we really outlined to him that this is an issue that you cannot blame the students who are involved. So the first students have no say in this. In fact, it is the admission board that did all this problem. You know, they do not have advertised admission for students in the School of Education if they are not going to enroll them. So once that advertisement was done, you actually cannot blame any of them to come for having access to the university, for having enrollment, and at the end, you know, not allowing them to start their semester. So what we agreed was to allow them to do courses. Maybe they might not do educational courses, but they can also do certain areas, like their minors and their major areas. So these are and also general courses. They can do both of them. They can do those areas. Because it is really going to be an issue to send them off or to have them seated for a particular semester, you know, and, you know, solve this issue, which is not their problem. So that is something else.
That's very correct. And indeed, I must you know, congratulate the council. You know, for taking that step. As a council, of course, you know, what we need to ensure is solidarity.
Sure.
Yeah, we fight for the interest of all students. You know, solidarity. You know, Honorable Minister, solidarity is very key. It's very important.
It is very important.
There is this theory in sociology we call functionalist theory. Great sociologists like Emil Duncan, they work on this theory. Let's take our body as a system now. Imagine if your hand is cut off. How would you feel?
You'll feel harmless. That will be something else. So there are many things you do with it.
So the system works, you know, as one. So equally, we as a council, we are ensuring that solidarity. Any student that has problem, we have problem. And we are going to work together to solve that problem.
In fact, we are victims most of the time.
That's correct. That's correct. So that was why when these people have this problem, when it was declared at the orientation that, you know, the fresh students are not to start because of, you know, X and Y regime. So we said no. The 13th Executive Council said no, this will not happen. And we took that bold step to face authorities that this is not done, this is very unfair. How can they have their scholarship? 1, 2, being given study leave. they come, leave all their engagements, come to start, and you tell them, you are going back. That is very abnormal.
That is very abnormal. That would be so unfair to the students.
Obviously, we told them, good, if they are not going to do the educational courses, let them do their major. And as well their minor
and the general courses
and the GR.
Yeah.
So in the subsequent semesters, they can do the 100 level courses that are about them. And obviously they accepted this and they are coming. We are proud to tell all edusans, all the UTG fraternity, student fraternity, that our fresh students are coming to start this coming semester, inshallah.
Yeah. All thanks to the 13 Executive Council. Actually, we work tirelessly, and the president, we must commend him a lot, Mr. Alassane Ba, for having that lengthy conversation with Mr. Loom and the board, and also the Secretary General, which is Yaya Bojang. In fact, the whole council members, with the executives, we cannot, you just cannot name names. Because, thank you very much. We've done actually a fantastic job, and then we are not taking praises for now. In fact, this is our duty as council members. We should serve as servants to the students, and then we hope to do that until the end of our semester or until the end of our tenure. So on that note, we are really thanking the viewers. Currently, we can see viewers on the Facebook Live platform. And then, we cannot just thank much when it comes to the facilitators, which is Fine TV Gambia, the facilitator, the main man, which is Kekuta Cham, a very good brother actually, who is really trying very much, when it comes to serving the populace. He is doing a tireless job to the Gambia. At no cost actually. In fact, he's not. What I mean by in fact, he is doing it at his own cost. We are not paying him for the live program that he's doing, and he's investing a lot when it comes to that. So we really thank him so much.
Definitely.
Because that shows patriotism. It means, he's also, serving as, a Gambian, a brother who is very much interested in what his country is, actually doing when it comes to the educational area. Since he was a student at the college, so he understands the problems we are facing.
I can say he's a man.
Yeah, in fact, he is. Yeah. So,
indeed.
so actually, these are the productive citizens that we aim to have.
Definitely.
So,
I think we need to thank this.
Yeah, exactly.
Since I started this university.
Yeah.
I think this is a known venue for Fine TV.
For Fine TV, yeah.
All the time I see them have a program here.
Yeah.
That shows that they are really concerned.
They are.
We cannot tell them much.
Yeah.
They are fine. That is why
they are fine too. So that is a very good. And then so exactly. Yeah. So students of the university too. We are all students. So. We feel like this is a very important topic that we need to discuss about. So that's why we brought it up. And then, those are some of the insights that we are currently doing to make sure these problems are solved. The UTG is always, synonymous to such issues that, we don't want it to continue, because we need to be compared to other universities outside the country. So if we are having these problems, then this is something else. So I was your host, Lamin Sane, the Information and Communication Minister of the 13th Executive Council, and he was my guest, Mr. Usman Cham, the Education and Research Minister. So we thank you all for viewing, and then we will say we are coming back on air next week or week after next to continue on certain issues that are taking place currently in the university. So thank you very much for viewing. Thank you.